You have some line to get an antenna up in a tree, okay? You have the bottle to use with the line. You have the radio. This is a KX3 with the paddle built right in. Okay? You have an antenna. This is the PAR end fed along with some coax to be used as a feed line. And you have your battery. This little lithium battery, it's 1,298 amp hours. Yeah, right. That's what the Chinese rated at. But this thing will last a whole day, if not two, of contest-style radio operating. It's really good battery. Got it off of eBay. I think I paid $60 for it. So what do you do with all this stuff? Okay. I take my station with me when I go on vacation. Every summer, my family goes up to Lake George. We go to the same place every year. The owner of the resort, if you want to call it a resort, it's just a bunch of cabins. He doesn't mind me putting up antennas, thank God. So I get to sit at the picnic table, and that's what I get to look at while I'm operating. I mean, how cool is that? Right? It's better than looking at a bunch of awards, on a shack wall. Every year, Bud Drummond, who is the inventor of the buddy pole, his son Chris, and a bunch of guys, they go to the Caribbean and they do a de-expedition in the winter. It's called Buddies in the Caribbean. And then there's the U.S. Islands program. Okay, that'll get you outside onto some islands. You really can't read it, but these are all the recognized islands for the state of New Jersey. So there's quite a few. This should be a video. Here we go.
Hi folks, Sean Kutzko, KX9X here, and today we're going to operate portable from Pigeon Key in the middle of the Florida Keys using nothing more than a fanny pack full of gear, 25 feet of feed line, and a telescoping mast. Stay tuned.
The U.S. Islands Award Program focuses on operating a portable ham radio station from islands found in lakes, rivers, streams, and along the coast of the United States. Many hams from around the world try to make two-way radio contact with as many of the islands as possible over time. With over 1,700 islands in the Florida Keys, it's a prime target for the adventurous ham radio operator who enjoys being the sought-after station. Pigeon Key is about halfway down the Keys, just off the coast of Marathon, near the upper end of the 7-mile bridge. The island has quite a history, especially for early 20th century railroad buffs.
It was one of 82 construction camps that Henry Flagler had building the 7-mile bridge, which was titled the 8th engineering wonder of the world. So this was one of 82 construction camps for 4 years, from 1908 to 1912. Today we operate a marine science education camp, and these school kids that come here, they come literally from all over the country, so they'll organize themselves in their school system, charter an airplane, fly to Miami, and then take a bus to Knight's Key, and then we bring them out on our boats, and they stay here on the island for between 2 to 7 nights, so it's an incredible experience for kids to learn about marine science.
With access to the original bridge restricted, Pigeon Key is now accessible only by boat, courtesy of the Pigeon Key Ferry.
Illustrious Captain Bill of the Pigeon Key Ferry Service.
How we doing, everybody at home? Come on down and see us one day, will you?
The ferry ride over to Pigeon Key was only 15 minutes long, but what a ride! Sailing under both the Overseas Highway and the original bridge once used as part of Henry Flagler's Florida East Coast Railway was a real thrill. It was sunny and 75 degrees, a light breeze blowing off the water, and I was about to transmit from a very rare island. After landing on Pigeon Key and checking in with island staff, I set up right next to the water on the south end of the 4-acre island, closest to the 7-mile bridge. Space on the ferry was at a premium, so I'd traveled light. I decided QRP, or operating with very low power, was the way to go. With a 5-watt HF transmitter, a 10-amp-hour lithium-ion battery, and thin-gauge wire antennas, my entire station weighed just 7 pounds. The antenna was a 33-foot inverted L vertical with a 4-to-1 balun at the feed point and the counterpoise thrown directly into salt water. It took less than 20 minutes to set up my entire station. At 1600 UTC, KX9X Portable 4 from Pigeon Key, Florida was on the air.
D3, QRZ.
Norway 5, Oscar, Mexico, Germany.
Norway 5, Oscar Mike Golf. Thanks, you're 5-9 on Pigeon Key, Florida. Fox Lima 437, QSL.
Roger, okay, Sean. Thanks for the new island. Beautiful signal into New Orleans. You're 5-9. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for New Orleans today. QRZ.
Kilo 1, Mike Alpha Alpha.
Kilo 1, Mike Alpha Alpha. Hey, Frank, how you doing? 5-9, Pigeon Key, Florida.
Okay, I got you there. A little bit of QRM. 55, 55, over.
Roger, Frank, you're 5-9 into Pigeon Key, Florida. QSL.
Roger. Okay, thank you. Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. QRZ, Kilo X-Ray, 9 X-Ray, Portable 4, Pigeon Key, Florida for U.S. Islands. QRZ.
Kilo Lima 7, India Lima Alpha.
Kilo Lima 7, India Lima Alpha. Thanks, you're 5-9, Pigeon Key, Florida. QSL.
Roger, 5-9, you're 5-5, Wasilla, Alaska, over.
Very good. Nice to work Alaska today. Very good. Appreciate the call. 70.
After an hour on sideband, I switched to CW, which is much more efficient for QRP work. The U.S. Islands program isn't just for stations in the United States. Plenty of DX stations work the U.S. Islands program as well.
Florida, here's Kilo X-Ray, 9 X-Ray, Portable 4.
Florida 4, Whiskey Bravo, November.
Florida 4, Whiskey Bravo, November. Good afternoon. 5-9, Pigeon Key, Florida. Fox Lima 437, over.
599, 59, Frank, 73, up the 42.
Okay, bye.
After 4 hours on the island, it was time for me to pack up and catch the last ferry back to Marathon. My U.S. Islands expedition to Pigeon Key netted me 141 contacts in 32 states and 6 different countries. Again, all of this was done with only 5 watts of transmit power and a vertical antenna on salt water. If you're looking for a new way to have fun with amateur radio but don't want to break the bank, the U.S. Islands program offers a lot of fun at very little cost. Complete information on the U.S. Islands program is available at www.usislands.org. Log on and find an island near you and discover how much fun portable ham radio can be.
So the thing is, you know, a lot of people think with QRP, oh, you know, I'll be able to work the guy down the street. I'll be able to work the guy on the other side of the state. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be able to work into Ohio or Michigan. And as Sean's, video showed, 5 watts can get you from Florida to Alaska and to France. Okay, if propagation is good, and it's not always good. We know right now we're, in the dustbin of propagation, but you can still make plenty of DX contacts with QRP. So we have the Parks on the Air program. Okay, this was active before National Parks on the Air, but it really took off after National Parks on the Air ended at the end of 2016. You go to a park and you operate as many people as you can. Okay? You can set up from a park bench. You can set up from a pavilion, whatever's there. You can just sit on the ground and operate from underneath a tree. These are the parks in New Jersey that are part of the Parks on the Air program. Okay? It's not your local township park. Basically, it's the state parks. And this is how many New Jersey has. So you have quite a few. And a lot of these have never been activated for Parks on the Air. Hackle Barney Park, for one, I know, has never been. And if you operate in a park that's never been activated before, you're going to be at the end of a pileup, especially if you have your cell phone with you and you can spot yourself. I personally, my favorite is going up to Washington State Rock in Greenbrook and operating from there. There's lots of picnic tables. The average tree height there has to be 60 to 70 feet. So, you throw a wire up, you sit down at a picnic bench, and you go to town. And Dave has joined me there a couple times. Dave, KD2FSI, and it's a lot of fun.
I've done a solo field day from there a couple times.
Yeah. Or you can do Summits on the Air. Summits on the Air was invented, per se, in Great Britain, but it's now a worldwide program. There are recognized summits. It's not just any mountain. It has to be one of the recognized summits. New Jersey actually has some, believe it or not. Okay, we have K3EL activating, in this photograph, he's activating Stonetown Mountain, which is in Stonetown Park in New Jersey. It's given, this is its designator. Each peak has a designator. In this case, it's W2NJ 012. The higher the designator, the lower the mountain. These are the recognized summits within New Jersey, okay? Of course, High Point being number one, so it gets designator 001. The one that I want to work, that's close to work where I work in White House Station. Cushatunk is very close by, and it's been activated 9 times, probably more since this slide was produced, but I doubt I'm ever going to get out to Colorado to do a Rocky, so I'll take what we have here in New Jersey. So the guy that was in the title slide, Jim W1PID, he got a call on his cell phone one day, and the caller ID said it was from New Jersey. He thought it was a telemarketer, so he didn't answer the phone. A few minutes later, he gets the same phone number ringing on his cell phone, and he realizes that it's Guy, N7UN. N7UN lives in New Jersey. He's not a true 7, okay? So, they get on the phone, they're talking, and it turns out that Guy is in Hawaii on one of the peaks there. And they pick a frequency, and they have a SOTA QSO from Maui to New Jersey with 5 watts. Then there's the World Lighthouses on the Air organization. Okay, they have their own weekend, the 3rd weekend of August, where you can, they en masse go and activate lighthouses throughout the world. But there's no reason that you can't just throw your gear in the car and go out to one of the lighthouses in New Jersey and put it on the map, on the air map. We have 11, okay? Cape May, Barnegat, Twin Lights, Sandy Hook, Seagirt, Tucker's Island, Absecon, Hereford Inlet, East Point Lighthouse, Finns Point, Tinkham Rear Range, and the third one, Twin Lights, is especially easy to get to. It's right off of Route 36 in Atlantic Highlands. And they're very cooperative with hams as far as letting them operate. Question? Yes, you can get on. The question is, do you do any preliminary advertising if you're going to go to a park or a lighthouse? The easiest thing to do is, you can get on the internet and go to these sites, whether it's Parks on the Air or Lighthouses on the Air, they all have their own email reflectors. You can send them an email to let them know, hey guys, tomorrow I'm going to be at Twin Lights from da-da-da-da-da to da-da-da-da-da. My call sign is, so be listening for me. Or you can take your cell phone along, okay, and post yourself to DX Summit. That's guaranteed to get you a lot of QSOs.
And specify the SOTA one?
Specify the SOTA, specify the park. Each park has its own number. Or specify the lighthouse. So these are some of the lighthouses that are in New Jersey. Again, the third weekend of August is International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend, when you will find a lot of these on the air. Again, it's just fun collecting them and working them. And it's fun being there handing out the QSOs. QRP also has a contest season, okay? An outdoor contest season. There are indoor contests all year long, but QRP clubs specialize in outdoor QRP contests. The season, this is a typo, the season actually runs from February to October of each year. Okay, and these are sprints, and by that we mean they're short contests, okay? So you're not bogged down for the whole weekend. They can be as short as 2 hours, some run 10 or 12, and nobody expects you to operate the whole time. You just get in there, operate as long as you want, have some fun, and come back home. The first contest of the season is sponsored by the Arizona, I don't even know how you pronounce that. So we'll say the Arizona Scorpions, even though that's a QRP in there. It's held the first Saturday of every February. It's called Freeze Your Butt Off. And you get bonus points, okay, for operating outdoors. You get bonus points for using alternative power, batteries, solar, whatever. And there's a multiplier for whatever your ambient temperature is. The lowest one for the day. So if you start operating and it's 32 degrees, but a warm front comes through and it goes up to like 40, you get credit for operating at 32 degrees. In April or May, there's QRP to the Field, which is run by Paul Heron, NA5N. He comes up with a new theme every year. This is a longer one. It generally runs 12 hours, okay? And there's a bonus multiplier for field. And if you whatever theme he comes up with, if you do something to come in under that theme, I operated from my back patio. This was 2012, I believe. And the theme for that year was Cinco de Mayo. So I took a picture of some Chipotle mayonnaise by my radio, and I got the bonus points. Right? The following year, in 2013, the theme he came up with was famous trails and highways. So I went out to Route 27 in Metuchen. You really can't read this sign, but instead of saying Route 27, that says Lincoln Highway. Okay, and Route 27 was part of the Lincoln Highway, which was actually one of the first 2 transcontinental highways in the United States. Okay, so I set up near the Edison Tower, and it was under construction at the time, or reconstruction, refurb at the time. And I had my Jeep on the road, and I just threw a wire up in a tree. I had a little camping chair and a little camping table, and I operated for about 2 hours. Just had a lot of fun. Field day, okay? Field day. You don't normally think of field day as a QRP event. So I'm going to tell you a little story about the South Plainfield Amateur Radio Club. We were formed in April of 2014. That's when we became a club. A bunch of us CERT members in town. We're the hams. We became South Plainfield Amateur Radio Club. They looked at me and they said, we want to do field day. And it's like, it's April. Field day's in June. how are we going to plan field day? So I said, why don't we just go to a local park in town? It's a county park. We had to get permission. It's Spring Lake Park in South Plainfield. So let's just throw some wires up in the trees and see what we can do. So that's what we did. We operated from the gazebo. We charged our batteries with solar power. We put antennas up in the trees, and we operated for 24 hours. Okay, since our club falls under the auspices of our local Department of Emergency Management, on Sunday, the mayor came to visit us, and we explained amateur radio to him, and we got our picture taken with a bunch of council members from town council. And actually, the week before, the Monday before field day, and they've done this for us every year since 2014, the mayor declares Amateur Radio Week in South Plainfield. So how did we do? Okay, we were operating 2 KX3s, okay? A G5 RV for single sideband, an end-fed half-wave, the IRCHI antenna that I talked about for CW. We had approximately 400 QSOs for the weekend, okay? Our best DX was Hawaii, the Cayman Islands, British Columbia, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Belize, and Bulgaria. And when QST came out that December, we placed 3rd nationwide for our category. The next contest comes at the end of July. This, among QRPers, this is one of the big ones. It's called the Flight of the Bumblebees. It's always the last Sunday in July. And portable operations are really encouraged for this contest. If you're going to operate portable, you send an email to Rich Fisher, who's the organizer, KI6SN, and you get a B number for that year. The more Bs you work, which are the more portable stations that you work, the higher your score is going to be. It's a 4-hour sprint. From 1 to, in our time, that works out from 1 to 4 p.m., 1 to 5 p.m. on a Sunday. Then there's the NJ QRP Skeeter Hunt. Okay, this is always the 3rd Sunday in August. And it runs the same time frame, 1700 to 2100. Okay, there's multipliers for being a field station. There's multipliers for using homebrew or kit equipment, scratch or kit built, doesn't matter. Okay, and this is both a CW and a single sideband contest because there's a lot of people out there who are into QRP single sideband. There are bonus points. There's a new bonus every year. This year, you got 100 bonus points if you printed out a copy of the logo and you took a picture of your station with the logo. And last year was the 8th year of the contest. It started back in 2012, and it's been getting more and more popular every year. We had over 200 entries this year, which was a record. And we actually had, which I don't get into a lot of contests, but we had a 50% log submission rate. So I thought that was pretty good. Then in September, the New England QRP Club, they sponsor the 3rd Saturday in September, QRP A Field, which is, kind of confusing with QRP to the field, but they have bonus points for field stations and QRPP, okay? QRP meaning 5 watts. QRPP is a watt or less. Then in October, it was changed from September to October, we have the Peanut Power Sprint, which is sponsored by the North Georgia QRP Club. It's always on a Sunday. It's only 2 hours. And there are multiple categories for power, for portable operations, and even QRO stations are invited to participate. And that's the season closer until the next February. So, my kids are now in college, okay? Thank God we're out of the elementary school days, and they can drive, they can take care of themselves. But while they were growing up, my wife and I were known as the tag team, okay? She worked when I was home, and I worked, she was home. It seemed like we were never home at the same time. So having to watch two kids growing up and making sure they didn't get into any kind of trouble didn't leave for much room for amateur radio for me at home at nights or on the weekends, because I was always busy being the chauffeur to whatever, wherever they needed to go. There wasn't much time left for Dad. So what I did was I decided that I was going to operate from work during lunchtime. Here I am, it's lunchtime, I'm either watching YouTube videos or I'm reading a book. And I realized this is an hour where I can get outside, go to my car, slap the buddy stick on, and start operating QRP. As long as it wasn't pouring or snowing and the weather was halfway decent, that's what I started doing. So, it's my car, has the buddy stick on, the mag mount, okay? A couple times I went to a nearby park and I used the end fed with the jackkite pole as a sloper. But I got on the air. I was having a good time. It was only for an hour a day, but it was more than I was getting time to operate at home. In 3 years, I made over 300 QSOs. I worked over 60 DXCC entities, and my best DX was to Asiatic Russia, over 10,000 miles with 5 watts. Okay? One day during 2016, when we had national parks on the air, I went out to the car and I heard my friend Dave, KD2FSI, who was out God knows where at some park in West Virginia. He was down in a valley, okay? He was down. So I heard him, whipped out the microphone, because I do carry a microphone with me, and I worked him. And I blew his socks off because he knows that I'm only running 5 watts. And we had a QSO. So, what was the benefit for me? Got me out of the office, which, oh God, you'd love to get out of the office, right? Everybody yammer on you with their own problems. It got me doing what I like to do the best, amateur radio, okay? You go back from lunch feeling a heck of a lot better, and, the rest of the day went fast, and I got to enjoy the world's best hobby. And those are 2 Google Maps showing where all those contacts went. From a buddy stick at 5 watts on the top of my Jeep in Warren, New Jersey, because that's where I worked at the time. And it was all over the world. So the bottom line, doing QRP outdoors, it's like doing field day every day. You get to experiment, you get to see what works, what doesn't work. I mean, as far as experimentation goes, I ended up making my own homebrew magnetic loop antenna. I was skeptical. I had heard a lot about mag loops and how great they are, and I'm thinking, okay, here's a 3-foot loop. How can I work anybody with this thing, right? So I made one. I sat down at my dining room table with the KX3 to try it out. The first station I worked was Italy. I mean, I nearly fell off the chair. You get to meet, make new friends, you get to be an ambassador for amateur radio, and you get to have fun. How can you beat that? You can't beat that with a stick. And that's it, guys. Are there any questions? Good. Go ahead.
I have one thought. Instead of travel with picnic fish, I take a contact with me.
That works.
I don't have anything.
That works. Yeah, you take a card table, sit on the ground, whatever.
There were national parks on the air a couple of years ago. Any idea of a similar program coming up next year, 2020?
I don't have any. Input on that, or any word on that. The following year, they did grid squares on the air, which was, I think, was kind of a flop. Okay, this year is Canadian national parks on the air. But on the DX clusters, I wasn't seeing much activity. I guess they don't have as many as we do. And it just didn't seem to be as popular with them. When National Parks on the Air was all finished at the end of 2016, over 1 million QSOs were made from the national parks. It was 100 years from now, when the ARRL talks about its history, National Parks on the Air is probably going to be one of its crown jewels. Larry?
The light ships, you know, Ambrose?
Yes.
Is it being used?
I believe it gets on the air for that weekend.
Oh, just for the weekend?
Just for the weekend.
Okay. All right, and I think there's another light ship somewhere in Jersey City.
That I don't know.
Been there, I've been there. Okay, but they're not being actively, no club is hanging out?
No,
Okay.
no.
If you're interested in light ships, is the Lighthouse Museum in Staten Island has boat trips to a lot of the lighthouses up the Hudson and around that you cannot get to otherwise, and you can operate, I believe, within proximity and still qualify.
But again, to show you, you know, what you can do with QRP, okay? This is one of your own members, okay? Larry, W2LJ, who earned QRP DXCC, okay? So you can work 100 countries with 5 watts or less. Personally, my current country count with QRP is 160 countries. So, anything else that I can answer?
You operate in the national parks. Do you have to get permission from any of the staff?
Some you do, okay? Especially if you make a big deal about it, okay? I went when the one summer when we were up in Lake George, I left my kids and my wife can swim, I can't, and we go to a lake, okay? That's why I bring the radio along, okay? So one day while they were swimming, I decided to go to Saratoga National Historical Park. And I went into the visitor center and I introduced myself to the park ranger that was there. And I said, I want to set up and operate. He goes, oh, for National Parks on the Air? I said, there's been people here, right? He goes, oh yeah, all summer long. So yeah, they were really great. They said, and in fact, he recommended a couple spots for me to go. There are some sensitive ones where you can't operate from, or you have to get special permission, namely the 9/11 Memorial in Pennsylvania. They really don't like us being there, okay? Statue of Liberty is another one because that's a terrorist target. You can get permission, but you have to jump through all kinds of hoops and background checks to operate from the White House grounds, but it can be done, okay? And then some of the ones that are located in the middle of a town, you have to get special permission, like Martin Luther King's birthplace and places like that.
Somebody told the story of Teddy Roosevelt's birthplace in New York City. They had to sit on the stoop or on the steps,
Yeah.
you know, to be
Yeah.
in the place.
When Joe Everhart, okay, N2CX, Silent Key, great guy. When he went to the Statue of Liberty, he had to use his mag loop. They would not let him put up any kind of wire antenna. And some places are fussy. There's a ham I know that lives in New York City. He likes to go to Central Park to operate, but they will not allow wires and trees. So you have to reach into your arrow quiver of antennas and pull out something that's going to be appropriate. That's why you have to have all those options available to you. You know, you may be in a place that doesn't have trees. You may be in a place where they won't let you, where there are trees, but they won't let you put a wire there. So, you know, that's amateur radio. That's part of thinking ahead and being resourceful. And that's one thing that hams are. Hams are very resourceful. Thank you for having me.
Larry, pleasure. So great questions, great audience. On behalf of the club.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
As usual, right after like 46. Okay.
Cool.
Our thank you, for being a presenter here.
Thank you.
At Florida.
Thank you very much.
Great presentation, yes? Let's hear it, okay?
Thank you.
And when you're in South Plainfield, go visit Spark, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, so.
We meet the first and fourth Wednesdays of the month.